What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 50 of JD's Empire Sports Talk. I can't believe it's already episode 50, so we're halfway to 100. I mean, we started in December and didn't think it would get this far, honestly. Like, I had ideas, but I didn't think the ideas would get to this level. And I'm really happy, and I appreciate everything that everyone else has done for the show. Because if it wasn't, obviously, I could sit here and talk into a microphone for hours, but if it was not for viewers, for people to follow, to send to other people, to write comments, those are my favorite, no matter if it's good or bad, unless it's something like personal. But the comments, for the most part, um, throughout all these episodes when we post the reels, they've all been great and they're very entertaining. I love when the people may come at one of us or come at me if I say something they don't agree with, and I like that, and I really appreciate how far we've come so far. And there's also so much more room to grow. Me and Biggie are definitely we're a month in, and we look like we've worked together for a long time. Even me, when I do these little ones on my own, I just like to, because it is a JD's Empire Sports Talk, Empire Sports, so we have to still have um, our special episodes for those that maybe don't care about the rest of the league except for their team or the team, I don't know, in New York. It depends what it is because I like every team. My teams are from New York, obviously. It all depends on that. So you got to mix it up a little bit. I'm thinking about maybe after the summer, just bringing back more of like interview style type things because the summer is very hard to get people on and stuff like that, just consistently. CT will be back. It won't be the traditional just me and him. He'll be on when Biggie and I are on one of the days. It depends which. Um, I think it's a week or two from now. You'll have him on talk about baseball as a whole in general, and also New York teams. The New York teams are struggling, and that's what we'll talk about today. The Mets are still struggling. Listen, they're out and back and forth to first place basically every day. It's been changing this entire week after last weekend when they lost 2 out of 3 to the Phillies. But it's been a good sample size now where they have not played good baseball. After Senga went down, they won that game, but after that, they have not looked great at all. They got swept by the Rays, swept by the Braves, lost the first game to the Phillies. That was 7 game losing streak, and they did win one against the Phillies, and then they lost one, so that was 1-8. And then they played terribly against the Braves in the first 2 games. They lost those two, and then they did win. They were able to come away with a split of the Braves in the last 2 games. Where besides Thursday night, that Wednesday night game, they almost blew that one. And there's a lot of holes right now. Not as many holes as I think as people think, but there are holes out there that need to be fixed because this is not going to translate into winning later in the season, which is, of course, you want to do good in the regular season. You obviously because it sets it up for the postseason. But the way they've been playing lately, that's not getting them very far in the playoffs. And I'll tell you that it's just not gonna. The formula of how they're doing it as well is not going to be good for this team. So they really need to step up and figure it out because it's the little things that go wrong and then the whole thing goes wrong for them. And then they lost to the Pirates last night. They're also in about 15 minutes about to play the Pirates again. That's why I was like, I got to get this episode in, get it up there, calm the fans down a little bit because if they did not win those 2 games against the Braves to end the series, I would have been on here very angry, probably yelling the entire episode. But I think that calmed it down a little bit. But then the last night, you take 2 steps forward and you take 3 backwards after last night's absolute beating against the Pirates. Like it can't happen. Offense was non-existent for the most part, and that's a problem. I think number one we can start with. Of course, the top four. I've been saying this since even before the season started. I've been saying it for a while. The top four. Uh, Now that Nimmo is hitting, obviously you can include him in the top four. That top four is one of the tops in anywhere in baseball. You could stack it up against whoever you want. I'm most likely taking the Mets, and I think who likes baseball and enjoys watching the sport can say the same thing. The top four people are going to say, okay, we will take those guys over everybody else. Now, the problem with that is the rest of the lineup has been awful. Even when you get to the fifth spot, now with Vientos back, which was going to get to in a little bit, him being back, they need him to start hitting. Last night, not a good night, but it's also first game back. But they need him to consistently hit to get this lineup deeper and deeper. McNeil was hitting at one time. He's not really hitting anymore. Marte is not getting as much playing time as he should lately. He's been hitting lately. Of course, in the beginning of the year, he wasn't hitting, so why would he play? But he has been hitting, and then it's just like he's not starting consistently at the DH spot. And I know the Mets may think he's not that everyday player anymore, but they have to You have to take that into consideration because if not, then it's going to create problems, and that's not good. So they gotta be able to lengthen this lineup out a little bit. I know they brought up Mauricio, see what he can do, provide something of a spark, and he hasn't really done it. He's looked way overmatched. He has had a few good games recently, but it seems like a lot of his at bats are not really competitive. Beatty definitely took a tumble back down to earth, which I think people expected that. I mean, he hasn't really done much to think that he's going to be good over time like that. And then the catching spot right now is up in the air. Terens has taken over the starting spot, but he's not going to hit. He's not going to hit consistently, and it's something that you got to live with. You sent Alvarez down because he's struggling. Yeah, that is the right move. I agree with that, but you got to live with Terens not hitting because he's not a guy that's used to catching every single game. And then Sanger is back up, and you saw what he did when he was first up in the beginning of the year when Alvarez was out. Didn't provide much with the bat. Good defensively. He's very good defensively, but the hitting is not there. So you got to live with the catchers not hitting at all, which is a problem. And then center field, you put McNeil in center field, but you worry about the defense, which I would too. He's been all right out there, but you can't trust him at being an actual center fielder like every day. That's not going to work. And then Tyrone Taylor, he's not an everyday player, and it shows. He can't hit. He can not consistently hit, and it shows each and every game. And it's just whatever at this point. You got to deal with that as well. But there's things that can be taken away as a positive because Alvarez, when he comes back up, hopefully when he comes up, or if he does, I don't know what they're going to do. He's hitting, and that provides a little bit of a boost. Then at the trade deadline, you sit there and say, okay, our center field spot is a glaring hole. Why don't we go out there and get somebody that can play it every day and can hit and be something, be in the mix with their speed, whatever they can do, be better than what we have. And then Winker. Jesse Winker's on the mend as well. He's somebody that he may not hit every game when he plays, but he'll provide energy that they don't have right now. And I feel like they've lost a little bit of the mojo that they had in the beginning of the year. And then when you lose, it's hard to keep it up, but it's also you don't want to see that. You don't want to see a team lose their energy because they're not winning. That's not good, but it happens. It's tough to keep that energy going every game when you know you're not playing well, and it's very hard to do that. And you've seen it. We've seen what they've been going through. And then with the pitching, starting rotation, they have just I don't know what happened over the past couple of weeks. I know they haven't pitched well, but the injuries now as well are piling up, and it's just nothing you can do about it at this point. That Mania, he looked like he would be back next week. He still looks like he's going to be back next week, but he has an elbow problem now, so that's not good. Those things don't go away. They really don't go away if you don't rest it up for a while. So, and I know he's been out, so he's not going to want to sit there and say, "Oh, I'm going to sit out even longer." He's not doing that. So he's going to deal with whatever he has. Senga, hamstring problem. Yes, he should be back by the All-Star break, which is like a little under 3 weeks away. But what has Senga are we gonna get? We saw what happened last year when he came back from injury in the postseason. He looked not good at all. So that's something to be a little worried about. Yes. So if Minaya and Senga come back and they pitch like they did or like Senga earlier this year and Minaya like he did last year, that is huge. That's a huge shot in the arm for the rotation where it looks like Clay Holmes is running out of steam a little bit, which is expected. I don't know why people wouldn't expect that. And then Peterson, the last two starts have not looked great. Maybe he's feeling the fatigue a little bit, or a little bit of pressure in the sense of him being the quote unquote ace right now. Those two guys are a little bit of question marks, and then Minaya and Senga are question marks. But all four of those guys, when they're pitching good, are unstoppable, and that's a huge thing to have. But you got to hope they can do that. And then Montas, you don't know, he's a wild card as well. Like he was out up until earlier this week. He did pitch good in his 5 innings. Velo was up. Every pitch was working for the most part. But what Montas are you going to get over an entire season? That's the thing. He's a guy that's been inconsistent a lot of his career, and that's why he bounces from team to team. So we got to see what happens. And then Tyler McGill, another guy that could be depth, he's hurt. Griffin Canning, another guy, hurt now. He's out for the year. He has no chance of coming back. In the bullpen as well, it kind of seems like the last three rotation bullpen spots, it's getting switched out every day, and that's not great. That's not a good thing because it's like not the same guys being accustomed to roles. You using options left and right, which isn't great. You brought up some young guys that definitely don't look like they're ready, so that's a little concerning. A lot to think about. But then Brooks Raley, he will be back before you know it. That's a lefty that they need. At the deadline, I would bet anything that they will get a lefty reliever with Brooks Raley. Anybody, any quality left-hander that's at the deadline, I can guarantee the Mets get him. Something that they've been trying to do for a few years now, but this year more urgent. See how the team's been playing good early on, where it gives you more motivation to go out there and get the boys some help. Because yes, this team is not bad by any stretch, but they have holes, and that happens when you have a top-heavy team. You're gonna have holes at the bottom. We've seen that. And there's a few things to fix, but I think they'll be all right. And they just got to stop the skid. Like they lost to the Pirates game one, they have to go out there and win the next two. And then they play the Brewers and the Yankees next week. That's a big week. All home games, yes, but two teams that are playing, that are winning right now, like over 500. Yankees haven't been playing too great either, but the Brewers are a team that's in the playoffs, and the Yankees are right there for first place. So they're not bad, is what my point is. That they have things to of course, work on as well. But the Mets have an opportunity to go out there and get some wins, and it starts with ending this month on the right note, and hopefully they do that. But just relax. I think everybody, as Met fans, are a little nervous, but I think we'll be okay over the long haul. If things happen during the year, um, that they don't go your way, and then it does go your way. Just like the series and they played the Yankees the first time with the Red Sox early in the week. That was a miserable week. They got home and they figured it out, which hopefully that's the case once again. And then a little bit of other news just here at the end. The Knicks didn't have a first round pick because they traded for Mikal Bridges. And then they were supposed to have two second round picks, but one got taken away for that Brunson tampering allegation, or I guess it wasn't an allegation anymore from when they signed him. So they traded the pick or whatever, but they did get Muhammad Diawara in the second round, who was a little bit of a project, they said, but really, really talented. Of course, an international piece, which is someone that they don't have to count on right away. They can develop him either by having him play more professional games away overseas, or bringing him here and then uh, teaching him on their own. Which I think game experience would be nice if he plays overseas, just so he can get game reps consistently until he's ready to play here. Because you don't want him learning and trying to play at a high level at the same time. That usually doesn't work. We've seen that in a few other sports, and you don't want the guy to lose it mentally and then he's really checked out, and that's not what you want. But that'll do it for episode 50. Of course, a brief episode just to check in on see what is going on with these teams, and it will be fine. And then I just want to thank everyone once again, like I said, for tuning into all these episodes. I cannot believe it's episode 50 already. Meant to many more episodes. Me and Biggie will be back Monday night at 7:30. That'll usually be the spot, of course, for the summer, and then once the summer's over, we'll adjust and go from there. But it should be an entertaining episode as usual with us too. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one as well. But for episode 50, it is over now, and JD is out.